5 Best Bean-to-Cup Coffee Machines of 2023. Number 1. Eletta Aroma Enhanced Drip Coffee Maker with Glass Carafe. My observations: this is a neat-looking and relatively new bean-to-cup coffee machine from Eletta, and it seems to be quite a nice little compact machine in the low to mid-price range. It's a Cappuccino machine, which basically means that it has the milk frother that would usually be inside a milk carafe, but there's no milk carafe, so you just chuck the pipe into your milk bottle, and the frother froths the milk, because that's mainly what frothers tend to sow, and delivers it into your cup. It has 3 dose settings with simple bean selections, as with the gaggia bean-to-cup machines, and the volume setting is on a dial similar to the DeLonghi machines, but there are some references in the form of markings around the dial to refer to, although there are no numbers. That could be remedied with stickers, or Tip-X. Stickers would probably look neater. This machine doesn't have a bypass chute, so just keep in mind that you can't use pre-ground coffee with it. There are 5 grinding settings, but the manufacturer has actually answered a question about the grind settings in the Amazon questions and answers, which is quite interesting. Someone has asked about the grinding settings, and Eletta has answered, appearing to recommend not adjusting the setting at all from the factory preset until at least 1,000 coffees have been made. This seems odd. I'm sure if they misunderstood the question and are talking about some form of internal burr adjustment, or whether they are saying that the grind adjustment is only there to be made finer over the years as the burrs wear. There are a few gripes in the review stating that they thought they were buying a fully automatic machine, which would produce one-touch milkies for them. But it's not that kind of machine. It will produce the coffee for you, espresso and cafe cream on a one-touch basis, but the milk is a manual affair, although all you have to do is stick the pipe into your milk bottle and press the steam button, so there's not a massive amount of work required. Number 12. DeLonghi Eletta Cappuccino Fully Automatic Bean-to-Cup Machine. My observations: this is another very successful bean-to-cup coffee machine from DeLonghi. As you'll notice if you look at the reviews, it has racked up a ton of reviews, and the overall rating is very impressive, although it's largely positive. There are a few complaints that the flat white this machine produces isn't a flat white, and this is no surprise to me. It's a tall order to get a properly made flat white at a coffee shop, let alone from a machine. If flat whites are your milky of choice, as they are mine, then I'd avoid an auto milk frothing machine. Steam your own milk. Yeah, there's a learning curve, but once you get, you'll be able to make better flat whites than you get from any machine, and from most coffee shops too. Number 3. Gaggia Magenta Prestige Super Automatic Espresso Machine. As I've mentioned a couple of times now, there's also the Sage Oracle and Oracle Touch, and I really like these machines too, but they're outside of the budget of many people, while the Magenta Plus is a much more reasonably priced machine. The newer Gaggia Catarona Barista Pro has now been released in the USA, too, which is well worth having a look at, especially if there are multiple users who will want to save their own personal settings. Do bean-to-cup coffee machines give control over grinding? Bean-to-cup machines have grind adjustments, but most of them will have only around 3-5 grind settings, so there's really not much control there. The flagship Gaggia machines, the Babilla and Academia, both have 15 grind settings, which offers more control than with any other machine I'm aware of apart from the Oracle range, which has 45 grind settings. Who makes the best bean-to-cup coffee machines? Gaggia, DeLonghi, Sage, Eletta, Krups? This is a common question, but there's no simple answer, as all manufacturers have ranges of machines spanning different budgets. If you were to ask me who I think offers the best range of bean-to-cup machines, I'd say possibly Gaggia or DeLonghi. Number 4. DeLonghi CM 29043 SB Magnifica Evo Coffee and Espresso Machine. Silver. This is one of the lowest priced bean-to-cup coffee machines available. In fact, as far as I'm aware, it's the cheapest bean-to-cup espresso machine available in the USA right now, and actually, on paper at least, this machine has more going for it in terms of shot quality than some of the much more expensive bean-to-cup machines. While some of the more expensive machines have some great features, especially when it comes to convenience, the SAM has as many grind settings as the more expensive DeLonghi machines, and double the number of grind settings of some much more expensive bean-to-cup machines. While the 7 grind settings, which half-step increments, doesn't come close to what you'd expect to find on a standalone espresso grinder, it does give you a bit more ability to dial in. Find the grind that produces the best espresso from the beans you're using. I use the SM as my main espresso machine for a week or so in order to write my DeLonghi SM review, and I was very impressed with this bean-to-cup machine for the low cost. There's really nothing offensive about this machine. I can't say, oh yeah, it's the cheapest bean-to-cup machine, but here's why. Actually, it produces just as good shot quality and milk texture as many much more expensive machines. It's a fairly compact machine, and everything is well thought out. I love the front-loading water tank. Plenty of steam power, and the steam pipe with the panel removed works perfectly well for producing decent milk texture, As you can see from a couple of photos of my latte art attempts above, the only niggle I found with this machine is that it's difficult to get back to the exact same settings. The volume and strength dials are like volume knobs without any numbers for reference, which I found a bit of a pain, but not a deal breaker for such a bargain price machine. Number 5. DeLonghi Magnifica Fully Automatic Espresso and Cappuccino. Easy access front-loading water tank. 1.8 L adjustable brew group height for different size cups. Steam wand doubles as hot water tap. Fairly quiet grinding with 13 settings. My observations. In my humble opinion, this is quite a lot of machine for the money. It doesn't cost a great deal more than the SAM, and it does have quite a few more features and refinements, which would make me tempted by this machine vs the slightly cheaper option if I was on the market for a bean-to-cup machine. It has a ridiculous number of Amazon reviews, which are very positive overall. Obviously, there will always be negatives, but many of them appear to be rating the supplier rather than the machine. For instance, there are multiple reviews referring to the machine having been sent to a UK address with an EU plug, and of course, this is a rating of the supplier, not the machine. By the way, the reason this may happen is if you possibly unknowingly purchase from a third-party seller. Sometimes there's more than one supplier option available, and some may be cheaper than others. The problem with simply choosing the cheapest supplier is that there are several firms that sell coffee machines in the USA from Italy and other countries. Machines purchased from these firms are likely to come with an EU plug, and they may come with a return to Italy warranty too. So it's worth doing some due diligence and just checking who you're buying your machine from if it's not a machine that is dispatched and sold by Amazon.